Hey everybody, how you all doing out there? Hope you're all doing well. And thank you so much for clicking on this video once again to check out another Blu-ray collection of mine. It's been a year since I've done my last Blu-ray collection, and I figured since we're all in quarantine, what better time to do it than right now, the 1 year anniversary of my Blu-ray collection of last year. We'll take another look at my Blu-rays this year. I've collected a few more over the year. I don't know exactly how much. I feel like it's quite a bit though. I got all my Blu-rays sitting right here in front of me, all these movies to go through. Before we get started, just like the last video, keep in mind that these movies will go from really quality good movies, bad guilty pleasure movies, to just pure nostalgia for me. This is not going to be like the greatest movies of all time in my collection. This is just my collection of things that I enjoy. Be sure to put down in the comment section your Blu-ray collection and show me the movies that you enjoy. And with all that out of the way, let's just dive right into this big group of movies I have sitting in front of me, and let's just start breaking them down. Starting with the first movie from the pile I'm going to reach from, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 2014. Not a great Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, but there's still parts of it that I like, and I actually have all the masks still, so I don't know, maybe it'll be worth something, like 50 cents one day. The 2007 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, which I haven't seen in a while, but I found for really cheap, and I have nostalgia attached to this. I remember seeing it in the second grade, so maybe one day I'll watch it again. The three classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, the 1991 is still the best Ninja Turtles movie ever made, and the third one's still the crappiest ever made. I like the second one too. Taxi Driver, which is Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese, and really good. I definitely see where the Joker movie takes the inspiration from this movie, but I still really enjoy checking out Taxi Driver, and I like having it in my collection. Tarzan, the villain's death is probably the darkest Disney death, or at least one of them in the whole Disney Renaissance era. Is this part of the Renaissance era? I think it is, but yeah, Tarzan, good movie. I enjoy watching it. Tangled, a very underrated Disney movie. I really love Tangled. I think it deserves just as recognition as Frozen does, if not more. Taken 3, not good, but you know, completes the trilogy. Taken 2, it's alright, but still not too great. And Taken, which is awesome. Really good movie. Love Taken. That is definitely the best of that trilogy. Then we got Super 8, which is basically like Stranger Things, the movie before Stranger Things was a thing. Suicide Squad, the weirdest theater experience I've ever had still to this day. Saw it with some friends, loved it, told people about it, went to see it the next day with my dad and my brother. They thought it was horrible, and I started to see the cracks in it as well. And now it's not a movie that I really enjoy all that much, but there are moments in it that I do. Stuart Little, nostalgia. I loved it as a kid. I actually loved the second one more than the first one, but I can't find the second one on Blu-ray. But you know, the CGI mouse played by Michael J. Fox in this movie actually doesn't look that bad still to this day. I think they did a really good job. The Thing, it's not actually that creepy. It's just really cool science fiction horror movie with Kurt Russell, and yeah. Remake of a 50s movie that I haven't seen, but John Carpenter did a really good job with that one. The Thing, which is a remake slash prequel to John Carpenter's The Thing. Not great, but I actually I had a fun time with this movie. I thought it was fun. I thought it had some thrills. The CGI in it does not hold up very well, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. Spider-Man 3. I've done a review on this. I don't think it's good when you look at how it connects to the other two movies and finishes off the trilogy, which I do kind of give a little bit of benefit of the doubt to, because it's not supposed to be the end. They had a Spider-Man 4 planned. But even though I don't think it's a very good movie, I can't deny that I can still watch it. I put it on after I watch Spider-Man 1 and 2 from time to time. And there are sequences and moments in this movie, especially with the action, that I really enjoy watching. And I mean, Spider-Man still looks great, and I love Spider-Man, so never gonna complain about that. Spider-Man 2, still my favorite Spider-Man movie, I would say. Really holds up, in my opinion. I've watched it a couple times this year, actually. This year, yeah. I've watched it twice this year, even though we're only like 4 months in, but I enjoyed it. I still enjoy this movie. It's still my favorite Spider-Man movie. The original Spider-Man movie, still a fun origin story. It's corny, it's cheesy, it really is, but I still have a lot of fun with it. I think it really captures the vibe of the 60s comics that I've read. And I don't care what anyone says, The Green Goblin by Willem Dafoe is still creepy. Freaked me out as a kid. Speed, Keanu Reeves trying to stop a bus. If it goes below 50 miles an hour, it'll blow up. Just great, exciting, fun action. Throw Mama from the Train, which is a really wacky comedy movie that kind of riffs off of Strangers on a Train, an Alfred Hitchcock movie I really love. So I actually enjoyed the little tie-in to that movie in this movie. Speaking of that movie, we got Strangers on a Train by Alfred Hitchcock. One of my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movies. My favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie is Psycho, but this is definitely up there with him. I just really enjoy the trading off of murder concept of this movie. Space Jam, come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. It doesn't hold up that well in my opinion. I liked it as a kid, but when I watched it as an adult, it's not something that like I want to throw on every now and then, but I still have it in a collection for nostalgia's sake. Madagascar To Escape from Africa. If you haven't noticed yet, this is in no particular order whatsoever. Still the best Madagascar movie, I would say, and probably will be. I don't think they're making any more, but this was definitely the one that made me laugh the most as a kid and still makes me laugh the most out of all three. Spaceballs. Probably, well, one of the best Star Wars parody movies ever, but it's more than just a Star Wars parody. It's a legitimately good comedy, sci-fi, space adventure that kind of riffs off the genre. And Rick Moranis as Dark Helmet kills me every time I watch this movie. I love Spaceballs.
I can't breathe in this thing!
The first Madagascar movie, the animation's not looking that great nowadays. Well, maybe that's a little harsh. It doesn't look that bad. It's just starting to look a little dated in my eyes. But I still enjoy the first Madagascar movie. It's not that bad. Son of God, for the Christian in me. I've said it before, as a movie, I wish it was structured better and like actually delved into the character of Jesus a little bit more, besides from being just like highlights of the New Testament. But I still enjoy watching it around Easter time mostly. The Three Amigos, which is a very weird comedy movie with Martin Short and Steve Martin and Chevy Chase. At times it gets a little bit too stupid and I don't fully understand what's happening, but it's still a fun kind of Western parody. Teen Wolf, Michael J. Fox. Love Michael J. Fox from the 80s. Just a great actor, and he has that kind of fun, nervous, hyper charisma to the screen. I love Michael J. Fox, and this movie is really kind of cheesy and weird, but Michael J. Fox makes it work, and I enjoy putting it on from time to time. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Out of the Shadows. Probably the movie that killed the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise, and while it's fun to see like childhood favorites like Bebop and Rocksteady in there, it's not very good. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, great. I love Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So I Married an Axe Murderer. I heard this movie was really funny, and there was a scene in it that really made me laugh, but for the most part, I probably won't watch this movie again, and I might not keep it around in the collection for much longer. But I liked it for a first watch, but it's just not something that I could, like, rewatch. Lion King. Lion King is, I mean, it's great. Theory of Everything, the biopic of Stephen Hawking, and I enjoyed this movie. Eddie Redmayne, he did a fantastic job as his physical performance of Stephen Hawking, and the way that he transitions his body into getting into the wheelchair and stuff. And I just thought he gave a really great performance, and this was a really good movie. Lilo and Stitch and Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch. I love these movies as a kid. I still love Lilo and Stitch to this day. Lilo and Stitch 2 was a direct-to-video movie, and it shows, but it's nostalgia, and I enjoy watching it from time to time. Life of Pi, visually amazing. I haven't watched it in a couple years, but I remember this being visually amazing, and I remember being encapsulated and just sucked into this movie. It was transcendent, and I gotta watch this again soon, but I really enjoyed Life of Pi when I watched it. Logan, what a great send-off for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's such a great character kind of movie for Wolverine. It's probably the most engrossing of all of the X-Men movies for me, and it's definitely probably my favorite of all the Wolverine movies. Liar Liar with Jim Carrey. Love Jim Carrey. This is Jim Carrey at his peak for me. His physical comedy is outstanding in this movie, and it's just a sweet kind of story, and everything about it just works for me. I really love Liar Liar. It's one of my favorite Jim Carrey movies. We got Smokey and the Bandit, Return of the King, Two Towers, Fellowship of the Ring, all outstanding cinema experiences. And then I have Lord of the Rings, the unextended cuts, because the extended cuts are just way too long, and sometimes I don't want to spend 14 hours of my day watching Lord of the Rings. Live, Die, Repeat, fantastic kind of time travel movie. Little Mermaid, just endearing. I love Little Mermaid. It's one of my favorite Disney movies. The Lion King remake, doesn't do anything new from The Lion King. The visuals are pretty spectacular, but yeah, I would never choose to watch this over the other Lion King. I kind of just have it as like this is a cool experience that I might want to show someone someday, so I have it in the collection. But I enjoy it. Frosty the Snowman, a TV special that's always on TV during Christmas time, but sometimes now that I'm working, I miss it. So I like to throw this on during Christmas time. And it also has the second one, Frosty Returns. So that's like 2 Christmas specials in one. Fox and the Hound and Fox and the Hound 2. Fox and the Hound 2, I don't remember much about at all. It was direct to video. I don't really watch it, but the first Fox and the Hound I really love. Besides the segments of the birds chasing that worm, this is one of my favorite Disney movies. The Fly, Jeff Goldblum, creepy, really good movie. The Conjuring, one of my favorite horror movies. Very freaky, very scary. But my friend showed me that one day, and I really enjoyed it. Coco, one of my favorite Pixar movies. Just a really sweet, endearing kind of story. Really fun music, and really colorful and creative world that they created. I love Coco. Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. Jim Carrey. This was a childhood book series that I loved, and the movie does a pretty good job capturing the first 3 books, and then makes up their own ending. I think they did a pretty well job with it for doing a movie. It was supposed to have sequels, but they got canceled, which is unfortunate, and you can kind of feel it after you watch that movie. Lego Movie 2, the second part. Not as good as the Lego Movie Part 1. Haven't watched it, I think, just since the theaters, but it has some fun gags, and even though it has too many at times, I like it, but not as much as the first one. The Lego Movie. This is one that I really enjoy. I love the Lego Movie. I think it's great. And Lego Batman, which might be better than the Lego Movie. I don't know. Definitely more entertaining than the Lego Movie. I really like Lego Batman and all the Batman spoof within it. It's great. The Sixth Sense. I see dead people. Singing in the Rain. Probably my favorite musical. One of my favorite musicals for sure. I really enjoyed this movie, and I like the comedy in it with the concept of the talkies coming in and silent films getting out. Suka Life of Walter Mitty. I got this movie for free, and I don't find it all that entertaining. I think it's kind of boring, but, you know, I still have it sticking around. Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. I really wanted to like this. I really did. I watched it again recently with my brother because he hadn't seen it, and my opinion on it just didn't change. It's just very unsatisfying. It's not the worst Star Wars movie by objectively. Like, I'd still rather watch this over like Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones maybe, but it's the most unsatisfying Star Wars movie to me, and my opinion on it just hasn't changed since I rewatched it, which is unfortunate. Last Jedi, I like half of it. Force Awakens, I like all of it. I think Force Awakens is still really good. The original 6 Star Wars movies, yeah, I count the prequels as the original 6. I guess I kind of grew up on them in some way too, but I really enjoyed Star Wars. Do I really have to say that? I love Star Wars. The first Star Trek movie, which I saw with my dad in 2009, and never saw the sequels, but I have the first one. I gotta look up those sequels someday. Scream, Scream 2, Scream 3, and Scream 4. Scream 1 is great. Scream 2 is where it starts to lose me. Scream 3 gets worse, and then Scream 4 I like up until the end. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Visually amazing. Edgar Wright did an amazing job with this movie. I really enjoyed it. Scooby-Doo. Again, nostalgia. I watched this all the time as a kid. It doesn't hold up. It just doesn't hold up. But nostalgia purposes, I have it. It is awesome. I love it. I have a review on it. It's probably way too long, but I said everything I wanted to say about that movie. The 3-hour miniseries of It, which is too long, gets a little bit too corny and cheesy at times, but Tim Curry's still great as Pennywise, and the first half with the kids and stuff I really enjoyed, and then the second half is kind of The Iron Giant, great. Watched that again recently. Oh, such a good movie. Terminator Dark Fate tries to be Terminator 2, tries to be the definitive Terminator 3, and I just think it missed the mark on that. Terminator Genesis. Terminator Salvation. At least it did something different. I can't say that this movie's bad. I do enjoy this movie, but you know, it's still not high quality Terminator, I guess. Red. I saw this movie once. I don't really remember anything about it, to be honest, and I never sought out the sequel, so I don't really think I liked it all that much. Saving Private Ryan, classic. Such a great movie, and that opening sequence with all the soldiers storming the beach and getting shot is horrific. I watched that in drama class for Remembrance Day. I remember that, and really well done, really horrific. Saving Mr. Banks, really cool story of how Mary Poppins came into possession of Disney. Not totally accurate once you read up on how the author of Mary Poppins felt about Disney's Mary Poppins, but I still like the the movie as it is. Rocket Man, a really cool biopic musical that I really enjoyed watching in the theaters and thought, I don't know, did something unique. At least it was unique to me. I don't know if someone else has done it before, but I thought it was unique. I, Robot, fun Will Smith movie, fun action. Interstellar, really cool visuals. I'm on board with like 2/3 of this movie. By the time we get to the end, it might just be too smart for me. I don't fully get it. But I still like it. Christopher Nolan did a good job. Instant Family. Instant Family is just feel-good movie. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Inside Out, one of Pixar's most creative movies, I guess you could say. Not one of my favorites looking back on it. I haven't rewatched it as much as some of the other Pixar movies, but it's still a phenomenal job by the studio that seems to just make gold. Well, for the most part. Inglourious Bastards, Tarantino rewriting history in a really fun way. Love Inglourious Bastards. Independence Day, probably one of the best alien invasion movies ever made. At least one of the most fun alien invasion movies ever made. And Will Smith, fun action. Independence Day is just a ball. Legend of Tarzan. Yeah, I didn't like this one. I remember watching it and being bored, and I should just get rid of it. The Land Before Time. Nostalgia. Loved this movie as a kid. Tried to watch it recently and didn't get all the way through. I think it's one of those kids movies that might be a little bit too much for kids and doesn't translate too well to me as an adult. But it's nostalgia. Little Fred and the Gang are in my heart forever, so I'll keep it around. Lady and the Tramp. Really enjoy this Disney movie. The remake I actually thought was pretty decent. I don't know why more people didn't talk about it. I guess it's not like revolutionary or anything. I just thought it was kind of cute, and if they had it on Blu-ray, I'd actually pick it up. The Spongebob Squarepants movie, Sponge Out of Water. What a trippy movie, but SpongeBob's fun still to this day for me, and I love that movie. SpongeBob Squarepants the movie, or the SpongeBob Squarepants movie, sorry. Definitely better than the sequel, Sponge Out of Water, and more nostalgic for me. I've watched this as a kid. I loved it. Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. Spirit. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's nostalgic for me. I remember everything about this movie and remember being really heartbroken when the horse got taken away from his family. Jackie Brown, not one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. It's a little bit too heavy and not as much fun to watch, but I came with the Quentin Tarantino collection, so I'll keep it around. It's Wonderful Life, Christmas classic, love it. Ready Player One, I haven't watched it in a while, but just like how much tie-ins it has to pop culture and the things that it's able to introduce and bring into this movie is a lot of fun. I really enjoy watching all that stuff. Rampage, not one of my favorite rock movies, but it was enjoyable. It wasn't awful. Rambo First Blood, in a way kind of a whimper for the Rambo series to really go out, but I still had a lot of fun with like the third act of this movie. The rest of it's a little bit too close to Taken, to the fact that it feels like a ripoff. But the ending of this movie, where it's like Home Alone with Rambo, great. Rambo 4. This movie's hard to watch, especially since it's based off real events and something that was really going on in a country. And people are treated so horrifically, and people have been treated that way in real life. It's hard for me to really digest this movie and see it as popcorn entertainment. It's just a little bit too much, like, depressing. Because, yeah, people actually went through what people in that movie are going through. Rambo 3. It's okay. Some fun action. Rambo in the desert, riding a horse. But it's not Rambo that I like to watch. Rambo Part 2 is okay. It's not as good as the first... No Rambo movie has been as good as the first Rambo movie to me. It's fun to see the Rambo character kind of turn into the Sylvester Stallone common action hero man that we know him for. So... And it completes the Rambo franchise, so I have it in there. And Rambo First Blood, my favorite... One of my favorite action movies, and definitely my favorite Rambo movie. And Sylvester Stallone, I think, gives a really great performance in this movie. Might be one of my favorites of his. Ralph Breaks the Internet. Not a worthy sequel, I think, to Wreck-It Ralph, but it was fun enough. And it had a pretty mature message within it in some ways that I wasn't expecting. Wreck-It Ralph, the first one, is really good. I really enjoy Wreck-It Ralph, still to this day. The Revenant, which is a really great revenge story and revenge tale, but it's really long. I can't rewatch it very often. It's just a little bit too long, a little bit too heavy-handed. The Incredibles 2. I thought it was okay. Everyone was really over the moon about this movie. Some people even saying it was better than the first Incredibles. I never saw that. I thought it was okay. I enjoyed it. It was a fun sequel. but I didn't understand the hype for it, I guess I would say, but I still enjoyed it. The first Incredibles, still Pixar's one of their best, and I still think is way better than Incredibles 2. I really enjoyed The Incredibles. Superhero, what's not to like? The Flash, the 5th season, starts to go a little bit downhill from there. Flash season 4, that's where the decline kind of started for me. Flash season 3, I really enjoyed like the darker tone that this Flash season took, and it's one of my favorite seasons. Season 2 probably is my favorite season of The Flash. I thought it was great. And The Flash Season 1, which I think is really good. I enjoy a lot in that season, and the origin story of Barry Allen. Finding Dory, Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo is probably better than Finding Dory, but Finding Dory was still a pretty fun sequel many years later. Raging Bull, really good movie. It's a classic, but the character of Robert De Niro's character is really unlikable for me. I'm sure that's the point, but for that reason, it's kind of hard for me to enjoy this movie, if that makes any sense. I don't know. It's really good. Planet of the Apes movies, all 5 of them, from Planet of the Apes, Beneath, Planet of the Apes, Escape, Conquest, and Battle for the Planet of the Apes. I mean, classic sci-fi, I guess, but they're pretty cheesy and corny movies nowadays. But the makeup that they do for these movies, I think was revolutionary for the time, and I think still looks pretty good for the most part, still to this day. I recently just watched all 5 of them in a row, and it was pretty cool to take that journey again. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, a fun Thanksgiving movie that I usually watch around Thanksgiving, and yeah, really funny with Steve Martin and John Candy. Classic. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, really the only Pirates of the Caribbean movie that I enjoy, and the introduction of Jack Sparrow, perfect. Pineapple Express, probably my favorite Seth Rogen movie. This movie just has me laughing every time I watch it. It's like Dumb and Dumber if they were high and on drugs, which I kind of enjoy. Pete's Dragon. No one talks about this Disney movie, but this Disney movie was like one of my favorites as a kid. I loved this movie growing up, and I don't know, fun music, I think. Peter Pan gets a little racist, but you know, classic Disney. Patriots Day was awesome. I enjoyed Patriots Day a lot. About the Boston Marathon bombing, really well done. Parasite, so good. I really enjoyed Parasite. The best thing about this movie is that it's all in subtitles, but I was so immersed into the story and into the characters that the subtitles kind of went away from me, and that's something that doesn't really happen with subtitled movies, but I haven't really experienced subtitles going away like that since I watched Inglourious Basterds, which, you know, I can see why it won Best Picture, but it wouldn't have been my pick, but still worthy win. Paranorman, fun kind of claymation animated movie that I like watching around Halloween time. Kind of underrated, but I wouldn't blame people if they didn't like it all that much. We've got Paddington and Paddington 2, both endearing family films that I think are underrated. I think more families need to watch these with their kids. They're fun times. Paddington 2 I think is better than Paddington 1. I enjoy Paddington 2 a little bit more, but really good, just harmless entertainment. Then we got Clue, which is a fun movie to watch if it's storming out. Probably one of the best board game translation movies ever made. Django Unchained, one of Quentin Tarantino's best movies, for sure. The Disaster Artist, so much fun. The movie about the making of The Room, which The Room is just one of the best worst movies ever made. This was a really good movie to show how that came to be. Dirty Dancing, I watched this because a friend wanted me to, and I don't know, I was weird. I couldn't get into the romance. She seemed way too young, he seemed way too old. It was just weird to me. But, you know, classic. Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. After all the Terminator movies that we've gotten, this isn't that bad. I mean, it does retcon a little bit of stuff from Terminator 2, but it does have a pretty ballsy ending. Terminator 2, the best Terminator movie, just in my opinion. And the Terminator, the second best Terminator movie, but not by much. This is a really good movie. Even, like, it started the whole franchise, but even if there was no other franchise, this movie would still hold up to this day. Cape Fear, creepy movie, but I really enjoy it. Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, the third of the franchise that kind of died after this one, but I don't have the second one. I'm still looking for it, but I have the first one in here somewhere. Creed and Creed 2. Creed is probably the better movie, but there are things about Creed 2 that I enjoy a little bit more. I love bringing Drago back and with his son, and I love how this connects to Rocky 4, and it kind of makes Rocky 4, Creed, and then Creed 2 a pretty good trilogy to watch, in my opinion. the remake of Aladdin, and the original Aladdin. The original Aladdin's definitely better, but I thought they did a pretty good job with the remake. I didn't think it was that bad. I enjoyed it. Creature from the Black Lagoon. A 50s horror movie, but, you know, not scary, but I enjoyed it. One of my favorites of elementary school, Citizen Kane, one of the best movies ever made. Reservoir Dogs, the ones that put Quentin Tarantino on the map. Inception, one of the Christopher Nolan's best and visually most astounding movies. Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs and Ice Age. I don't have any of the other ones, even though the second one was my favorite as a kid. These were the only ones I was able to find, and I'm not really seeking out the other ones, but if I find them, I'll probably pick them up. Remake of the Cinderella, probably one of the best Disney remakes thus far. A little underrated, actually. The first Narnia movie, as I said, I don't have the sequel. Still looking for it, but it's on Disney Plus now, so not too eager, I guess. But a lot of these are on Netflix and Disney Plus, so what does that mean? Pulp Fiction, everyone's favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. Not one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. I understand what it did for, like, the movies and kind of like unraveling the structure and doing something new with it, but one I enjoy. Psycho, my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movies, one of my favorite movies in general. I love Psycho. Hot Fuzz, the like first part of Edgar Wright's like Cornetto trilogy. Really fun movie, really enjoy it. And Nick Frost and Simon Pegg are great in it. Hotel Transylvania 2 and Hotel Transylvania 1. Both really good, fun animated movies. I haven't seen the third one yet because it kind of looked horrible and I didn't really feel like watching it. The Fighter and Warrior. Both really good movies. I enjoy both of them. Field of Dreams. I thought it was cool. I liked it. I wasn't over the moon about it like some people. Like, I understand why it's a classic, but it's not one of my favorite movies, and my brother actually hates that movie, which I find pretty funny. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, one of my favorite movies. I love this movie. It's so much fun. It's a really fun sick day movie. Home Alone 2 and Home Alone. Both really good movies and both really nostalgic movies. I loved Home Alone 2 more when I was a kid. Home Alone is definitely the classic, but Home Alone 2 I think is more entertaining in some ways. Hook. Robin Williams as Peter Pan. Really fun, really good movie. Hoodwinked, a movie I liked when I was a kid, but watched it recently and doesn't hold up very well. But it was fun to look back on. The Fault in Our Stars, really nice little teen romantic film, and quite devastating at some parts. The Fate of the Furious, Fast and Furious kind of jumping the shark. They've jumped the shark a lot, but this was a big jump up the shark. Furious 7, the first Fast and Furious movie I actually ever saw with my friend in theaters. That was a fun one. Fast and Furious 6, Fast 5, still probably the best of the franchise. Fast and Furious 4, even though it's just called Fast and Furious. Too Fast, Too Furious, nope. Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Nice risk of the franchise to ditch its main characters and go to new ones, but not one of my favorites in the franchise, but not bad. Too Fast, Too Furious, my least favorite. I think it sucks. And the Fast and Furious, the first one, still probably one of the best. The Prestige, one of Christopher Nolan's most unique movies, I guess. It's very weird. Not weird, but different. I liked it. Prometheus, not too bad. Alien prequel or spinoff. Shrek Forever After, it's okay. It doesn't need to exist. Shrek the Third, wasn't my favorite as a kid. Shrek 2, probably still the best Shrek movie ever made. And Shrek 1, the classic, the original, started it all. Holds up very well. Chronicle, really cool, kind of found footage movie that dives into the superhero genre a little bit. Really unique. I enjoyed it. Live Free or Die Hard. The fourth Die Hard movie. Not as good as the other three, but I haven't seen this fifth one because I hear it sucks. And so that's the last Die Hard movie that I've seen and owned. Die Hard with a Vengeance. Probably my favorite Die Hard movie. I just like the different locations that it gets to go to. Die Hard 2, basically retread of the first one. I don't enjoy it all that much. And the classic Die Hard, great. I love Die Hard. Detective Pikachu, nostalgic. I loved Pokemon as a kid, and I thought this movie did a pretty good job capturing the fun of Pokemon. Tickle Me 3, probably the weakest of the franchise, but one that I still think is okay. Despicable Me 2, probably the funniest of the franchise, but not as good as the first one in my opinion. And Despicable Me 1, probably my favorite Despicable Me movie. It's a lot of fun. Airplane, really fun spoof movie. I watched the sequel. I didn't like it as much, but I own Airplane. Adventures in Babysitting, a family classic around my house, and one that is a lot of fun to watch. Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura. It's actually just called Ace Ventura, but I read Jim Carrey first. One of my favorite Jim Carrey movies at his prime, the one that kind of started his career. A Bug's Life, the Pixar movie that freaked me out the most as a kid when Hopper gets eaten by the birds at the end. Ugh. Like, I know he's a bug, and that's what happens to bugs, but you humanized him for me, or you personified him, and it was weird to see him get eaten, and freaked me out. 2001: A Space Odyssey. Don't fully understand this movie, but does anyone really understand this movie? I've seen so many different interpretations of this movie, but nonetheless, it keeps you thinking, and I kind of like it for that. 1917, a movie that I said I probably wouldn't rewatch very often, but being hypocritical, I bought it because I do want to check it out again one day. It's really, really good. It's technically astounding. 500 Days of Summer, one of my favorite romance films. I think it's just beautifully done and really great. 101 Dalmatians 2, which I thought was 102 Dalmatians. Is 102 Dalmatians a different movie? Was 102 Dalmatians a live action one? It might have been. 101 Dalmatians, classic Disney. Not one of my favorites, though. 51st Dates, probably one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies. I just think it's a kind of sweet romantic film. 50-50. Good movie about going through cancer. 17 Again, nostalgic. This was like Zac Efron as he was leaving High School Musical, and was like one of the first movies I saw him out of High School Musical in, and my sister and I really enjoyed that movie when we were younger, and I still think it's a lot of fun, even if it has hints and ripoffs of It's a Wonderful Life. 10 Cloverfield Lane. I don't own Cloverfield. I don't like Cloverfield, but 10 Cloverfield Lane, the kind of spin-off movie that it was, I really enjoyed the like trapped in the bunker aspect and the mystery that was behind it. All of the Superman movies from Superman to Superman Returns, and all of the Batman movies from Batman 1989 to Batman and Robin. Spider-Man Far From Home. I think we're getting into the Marvel movies, so I'll just power through these. Avengers Endgame, love it. Captain Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Infinity War, Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, so much fun. Spider-Man Homecoming, great introduction to Spidey in the universe. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Doctor Strange, Civil War, Ant-Man, Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain America Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor the Dark World, Iron Man 3, The Avengers, Captain America the First Avenger, Thor, Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, and the one that started it all, the first Iron Man movie. Whew. I've talked about those enough. I love them all. Well, I don't love them all, but I at least enjoy them all. The Departed, really awesome movie, and had a very shocking ending for me that I did not see coming and had my jaw on the floor. Deepwater Horizon, really good, based on a true story movie about an oil rig that explodes and the survival that Mark Wahlberg must go on to survive it. I really enjoyed it. Death Proof, probably my least favorite movie of Quentin Tarantino, probably his worst, but even his worst isn't that bad. Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2, double feature, had to pick it up. Conjuring 2, I actually liked Conjuring 2 more than the first Conjuring. I know that's a little bit of a controversial statement, but I know people prefer the first one, but I prefer the second one. Bumblebee, the best Transformers movies, at least since the first one that Michael Bay made, but I think I like Bumblebee more than that one even. Jason Bourne, the fifth Bourne movie, not that great. The Bourne trilogy, still really good action movies, and probably should have stayed a trilogy. Bohemian Rhapsody, really enjoyed this movie. It was great to see in the theater. It was like being at a concert when they get to Live Aid. It was like I was actually there. This movie was like witnessing history and seeing it unfold before my eyes. Really enjoyed it. Black Sheep, Chris Farley movie. I like Tommy Boy, and I checked this one out, and this one's just not as good, unfortunately. Billy Madison, Adam Sandler, probably at his most Adam Sandler-y. I really enjoyed Billy Madison. Called the crap poop. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, love it, and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, love them both. I think Bogus Journey is still my personal favorite. I just love their positive energy being in this horrific kind of afterlife scenario. And Excellent Adventure is just a classic. Love those movies. Can't wait for the third one, if that ever comes out this year. Big Trouble in Little China, weird. Big Hero 6, probably an underrated Disney movie, but a really fun one. I kind of want a sequel to this movie, but I don't think we'll ever get it. Big, one of my favorite Tom Hanks movies. Just a really endearing story about a kid who becomes an adult, and just a really feel-good, is this 80s? I want to say 80s movie. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Said his name 3 times, and here he is. I know I used that joke in my last Blu-ray collection, but I'm going to use it again. Fun movie, really cool effects. The Princess Bride, great movie. I love that movie. The Predators, it's okay. As far as Predator sequels go, I think this is the best one. The Predator, get to the chopper! It's great. I love Predator. It's so much fun. Polar Express, not my favorite Christmas movie to watch around Christmas time, but still one that I'll throw on around Christmas time. I think it's a lot of fun. And kind of whimsical. Oh, Santa Claus 3. the worst of the trilogy, but not as bad as I remember it being. I watched it this past Christmas. Santa Claus 2, that was my favorite as a kid, but the first Santa Claus is probably the objectively better film. I still enjoy that trilogy, though. It Could Happen to You, a kind of sweet story about winning money and falling in love. Nicolas Cage at his least Nicolas Cage-est. It Chapter 2. It Chapter 2, Oh, It Chapter 2. Not a good movie. I don't think it's a good... I think it comes so close to being a so bad it's good movie. There's just so much weirdness in this movie. And the way that they defeat Pennywise is so kind of like underwhelming. They just kind of bully him to death and then he turns into a baby and they squish his heart out. And it's way too long for the story that they have. That movie's way too long. The Indiana Jones collection, all 4 movies, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls, probably my least favorite, like many people's, but I don't hate it. The third act is probably the worst part of the movie, but the rest of it leading up to that I actually don't think is that far off from an Indiana Jones adventure. The Hurt Locker. Hugo. My 5th grade teacher read this to us, and I loved the book, and the movie was pretty good. The movie captured what I loved about the book. How to Train Your Dragon 3, Hidden World, How to Train Your Dragon 2, and How to Train Your Dragon, one of the best animated trilogies out there right now. How the Grinch Stole Christmas with my man Jim Carrey. Grew up watching this, watch it every Christmas. It's a classic in my household. Hitch. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I like to watch it around Christmas time, and same as Frosty, I usually miss it on TV. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Nostalgic. Loved this as a kid, and I think the set and the props and the effects still hold up to this day. War of the Planet of the Apes. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Probably one of the best trilogies of modern day, and definitely the best ape movies out there. Rogue One. Really enjoyed it. Did a review. You know my thoughts. All 6 Rocky films. Love these movies. They're so much fun. The Karate Kid. Classic. I love The Karate Kid. One of my favorite 80s movies. Haven't watched it in a while, though. Hobbs and Shaw. It was okay. It was really over the top, fun action popcorn, but not one that I'll probably revisit very often. Good Time. Really underrated movie. Robert Pattinson gives a great performance. I really like that movie. Pacific Rim. Fun movie. I don't like the sequel, so I don't own it. Just Mercy, a movie I saw in theaters but did not give a review on. Saw it with my girlfriend, didn't really feel like taking that experience into talking about it on YouTube, but really good movie, really enjoyed it. Great performances by Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx. The Justin Bieber movies, I'm a fan of him. I like his story. Moving on. Justice League, disappointing, but yeah, not even that much fun to watch, but I have it to complete the DCEU movies, I guess. One Direction, I'm a big fan. Moving on. You're like, why does he own that? Because I have my own personal likes. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, easily one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies, even though it's one of his most recent. It jumped right up on the list, especially when we get into that ending. It's so entertaining. Once Upon a Time, Deadpool. Pretty much a gimmick. It's just a PG-13 cut of Deadpool 2, but I still enjoy owning it. I think it's kind of funny. Fargo. Fant 4-Stick, a gay gift from my brother that I still haven't gotten rid of because I think that's still rude, even though it was a gay gift, but I don't really enjoy that movie very much. The Notebook. Yeah, I'm a guy who owns The Notebook. That's pretty stereotypical, but I legitimately like that movie. No Country for Old Men. Great thriller movie. Nightmare Before Christmas. You can watch this at Christmas time and Halloween time. One of the more unique movies out there, I think. Nightcrawler. Pretty underrated. Really great. Jake Gyllenhaal is this creepy guy trying to get into the news business. I enjoy a lot of it. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Doesn't really capture the magic that Harry Potter had, in my opinion, and didn't really turn me on to checking out the rest of the franchise. Face Off. Woo-wee, I'm good looking. So much fun to see John Travolta act like Nicolas Cage and Nicolas Cage try to act like John Travolta. This is a really fun, kind of crazy 90s action movie out there. Expendables 3, Expendables 2, and The Expendables. I watched the whole trilogy, but I actually don't really enjoy those movies very much, so I'll probably get rid of it. Hitchcock, the kind of behind the scenes of what was going on in Hitchcock's life as he was making Psycho. I enjoyed it as a Hitchcock fan. The High School Musical trilogy, some of the most nostalgic movies for me out there. Love this trilogy because I grew up on it, but you know, whatever. Hell or High Water. Goodfellas, watched this for the first time recently, loved it, so good. I like how it doesn't glorify the mob world. It actually made me scared of the mob world, even more than I already am. Good Boys, funny. Gone with the Wind, classic. Ben-Hur, also a classic and one of my favorite classic movies, and it's kind of a revenge tale too. Ben Affleck collection with Live by Night, The Accountant, Argo, and The Town. I like most of those movies. I didn't love all of them. Beauty and the Beast, probably my favorite Disney animated movie. Batman the Killing Joke. I have the graphic comic of this. I think it captures the graphic comic pretty well once you get past the weird Batwoman story at the beginning. Batman v Superman. I think it looks great. It has some cool moments, but overall, I think it's a pretty disappointing movie. Dark Knight Rises, The Dark Knight, and Batman Begins. I actually know I'm not a big fan of Batman Begins all that much. The Dark Knight is undeniably the best one, but right behind it, I would put Dark Knight Rises. Batman, the movie, really comically hilarious in probably an unintentional way, but it could have been intentional. It was based off the 60s TV show. Bambi, not one of my favorite Disney animated ones. It's really beautiful, but it's kind of boring. Baby Driver, my favorite movie of 2016. Love Ansel Elgort in this movie, and we're getting a sequel, so I'm really excited for that. The Back to the Future trilogy, my favorite movie of all time. I love Back to the Future. 1.21 gigawatts. Avatar, visually cool still to this day. Austin Powers, Goldmember, probably still my least favorite Austin Powers movies. Shazam, probably one of my favorite DCEU movies. A lot of fun and has a lot of inspiration from Big. The Shawshank Redemption, one of the best prison movies ever made, and I agree with that statement. I love that movie. Shaun of the Dead, really fun zombie invasion, kind of apocalyptic comedy, and also part of the Cornetto trilogy. The Shallows, fun entertainment kind of summer film. 7 Pounds, I liked some of it. I liked the concept. I just didn't really like the execution of it too much. King Kong, way too long, but visually really cool, and you can feel Peter Jackson's love for the source material when you watch this movie. Or at least when I watched this movie. King Kong, the 1939, I believe this is the original classic, which is kind of fun to see the practical, like, puppet ape that they have. It's funny at times, too. Kingdom of Heaven, way too long, and I didn't enjoy it all that much. Kindergarten Cop, fun Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of comedy movie. It's not a tumor. I can't do an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. Like, everyone in the world can except me. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, one of the best Mission Impossible movies. Kill Bill and Kill Bill. Actually, this is Kill Bill Volume 2. This is Kill Bill Volume 1. I love these movies, but they are two separate movies. They are not one, even if Quentin Tarantino wants them to be. The Karate Kid, the remake. Actually not bad for a remake. So I enjoy that one. Jurassic World, really fun popcorn dinosaur flick. And the Jurassic Park original trilogy. The first one will always and remains the best. Jungle Book, visually really cool. One of a more, it's a fun Disney remake, and Jon Favreau did a really great job with that movie. I wish he could have made the animals in The Lion King more like the animals in that movie. Jumanji: The Next Level. This is a special one. I actually did see this one in theaters. I just never did a review on it last year because it was my first date with my girlfriend. So kind of a special movie in my heart. Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. I like this movie, but I can understand that it's not a good movie. That makes sense. The James Dean collection with East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause, and Giant. And Rebel Without a Cause is definitely the best James Dean movie, followed by East of Eden, I would say. I actually enjoyed East of Eden. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, also one of the best Mission Impossible movies. Mission Impossible 3 was my favorite Mission Impossible movie for a while, and I never understood why people didn't like it. Mission Impossible 2 is my least favorite Mission Impossible movie and still remains my least favorite. The first Mission Impossible movie, it's good. With all the other ones out, I don't think it's as good, but I still think it's good. Minority Report, really cool, kind of futuristic movie. Memento, probably my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. Megamind, kind of underrated. I love Megamind. That's a great animated film. The Meg, I'm not too big on that one. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. This wasn't a sequel that I enjoyed. I thought it had some really cool effects and visuals and scenes, but as the story and the movie as a whole, I didn't enjoy it all that much. And the first Godzilla, one that I actually did enjoy, even though the complaint is that you didn't get to see Godzilla all that much, that actually didn't bother me. Mystery Man, really funny spoof movie, kind of ahead of its time about superheroes. Murder on the Orient Express. I thought it was okay. I liked the mystery of it, and then the ending I thought was okay. A little bit of a cop-out. Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin Williams, probably at his best. If you want to understand Robin Williams, people say to watch that movie, and I agree. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, fun kind of spy comedy romance film? Nah, probably not romance. The Hateful Eight, probably Quentin Tarantino's one of his most underrated movies, one that I really enjoy. The Harry Potter collection, all 8 films. Is it 8? Yeah, all 8 films. Really fun set of movies. I think they just get better as they go along. The 4th one's my favorite, Goblet of Fire. The Hard Way with Michael J. Fox and James Wood. I think it's a little underrated. I don't think it's a great movie, but it's a fun, like, kind of like 90s action buddy cop movie. Happy Gilmore, another great Adam Sandler movie, probably. Yeah, probably one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies. I think it's really funny. Hannah Montana the movie, that's the nostalgia in me. Moving on. God's Not Dead, that's the Christian in me. My grandparents got this for me, and, you know, I'm not going to get rid of it because I feel like that's rude. I don't enjoy it as much as I used to when I was younger. I don't think it's as good, but I still have it. The Exorcist, creepy. That girl, so vulgar. E.T. Phone Home. It's actually called E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Didn't grow up on this movie, didn't see it till I was a teenager, but I can see why people would have such nostalgia to it, and it is a good movie, nonetheless. Monsters vs. Aliens, that's nostalgia for me. Not that great of an animated film, but it's kind of fun to revisit from time to time, especially around Halloween. Hang 'em High, a Clint Eastwood Western. Gladiator, are you not entertained? This is a great movie. Love Gladiator. There was talk of a sequel for that coming out, but I don't know if that's still happening. I hope not. Ghostbusters. I don't have 2 or the remake because I don't like either of them. Get Smart with Steve Carell and lady, I don't remember her name. Hacksaw Ridge. Fantastic. Love it. And I'm glad to see Andrew Garfield. He got a bad deal with the Spider-Man movies that he was in, so it's good to see him kind of flourish in his career. Monsters, Inc. One of the best Pixar movies and from childhood as well. The Greatest Showman. As a movie, it's okay, but the musical sequences and songs are phenomenal. Get Out. Really creepy, really good horror movie. Kind of a thriller more than a horror movie. Grease 2 and Grease Live. I watched Grease Live when it premiered. Pretty good live action musical in my opinion. Grease 2 was not good. I think it's just one of the worst musicals I've seen. And Grease is a classic. I enjoy a lot. Gravity, Sandra Bullock does a really great job. Lost in Space. Haven't seen it in a while, but I remember really liking it. Game Night, really funny comedy from 2018, 17. Gran Torino, probably one of my favorite directed Clint Eastwood movies, and I thought he did a really great job in the movie. I really enjoyed his relationship with the kid and stuff. Really good movie. Escape Plan, it's okay. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone are fun to see together. Escape from New York with Kurt Russell, classic, really fun, really gritty and gross kind of movie, but one that I really enjoyed watching. Galaxy Quest, really funny movie, really fun, kind of spoof on Star Trek and some other sci-fi movies, and probably one of my favorite Tim Allen movies. I actually can't think of too many Tim Allen movies. Christmas Vacation, staple around here during Christmas time, really funny, Chevy Chase, I love it. The Campaign, I didn't enjoy that all that much, I probably shouldn't even own it anymore. Buried. I think this is one of Ryan Reynolds' most underrated movies. It takes place of him in a box buried underground the whole movie. I think it's pretty great. Bruce Almighty. Really fun Jim Carrey movie. Brightburn. Creepy and kind of like an unsatisfying ending in some ways for me. Brother Bear and Brother Bear 2. Saw him as a kid. Nostalgia. The Breakfast Club. Classic John Hughes. Love it. Boyhood. Really cool kind of movie. Experimental. Shooting it over so many years, but it's not very rewatchable. Christine, creepy kind of Stephen King adaptation. Not overly creepy, but creepy enough. It was cool. Central Intelligence, The Rock and Kevin Hart together in this comedy movie. I think the best they've been is in Jumanji. I don't really enjoy that movie all that much. And sometimes at night I lie awake just reminding myself that I own cats. Yeah, I bought cats. It has memories involved in it. I took my brother and I went to see this like out of like the gag just to see what it was like, and it was so horrendous. It's kind of funny just to own it. I'm weird like that. The Cat in the Hat. I understand it's not a good movie, but I saw it as a kid and it's a guilty pleasure still to this day. Castaway. Probably my favorite Tom Hanks movie. I think he does just an amazing job and he makes you cry over a volleyball, so that's phenomenal. Captain Underpants. I loved the book when I was a kid. And the movie captures the fun of the books, I think. Captain Phillips, great. Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, and Austin Powers. Really funny movies. The second one is my favorite. A Quiet Place. We would have seen A Quiet Place 2 by this point. How weird is that to think? But A Quiet Place right now is still a really great movie. It will always be a really great movie, despite how the sequel turns out. Aquaman. I wasn't as crazy about that as everyone else was, but it's still a pretty fun DCEU movie. A Star is Born. Really good movie. A Star is Born 1976. Not as good as the remake, but I haven't seen the other Star is Born. There's like 4 of them. The Artist. Really great movie. It really captures the silent film kind of era, and it's a really fun modern day silent film. Anchorman. I don't have Anchorman 2, even though I don't hate that movie. I just don't really care to have it. A Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, the only one worth owning in my opinion. American Sniper, really great performance by Bradley Cooper. Really enjoyed the look into the post-traumatic stress disorder that the soldiers can come back with. Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Amazing Spider-Man. The Andrew Garfield films, womp womp. Unfortunately for me, I'm not a big fan of these movies, but I don't mind Amazing Spider-Man. It's okay. Amazing Spider-Man 2 has moments that I like and some fun Spider-Man action, but as movies as a whole, they kind of fall flat for me. Oh, whoops, pick that up later. Alien vs. Predator Requiem sucks. Shouldn't even own it, but I have Alien vs. Predator, so I kind of just have it for completion's sake, the second one. Alien Covenant. I actually didn't enjoy this movie very much. It tried to be Prometheus and an Alien sequel, and I think it failed at both. Alien Anthology, 1 through 4, Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection. I don't see why people hate Alien 3 to the extent that they do. I actually didn't mind Alien 3, but yeah, Alien 4 was pretty bad. The Alfred Hitchcock Collection, 15 films. I can't remember all of them, but there's 15 in there, including some of my favorites. The Goonies, Gremlins, and Gremlins 2. Out of those movies, I think Gremlins is my favorite. Matrix trilogy plus some kind of 4th movie that I've never checked out. I think it's like an animated series. But the first Matrix is great. The sequels I'm not a big fan of. Full Metal Jacket. Love the first like hour 40 minutes. I love the first like 40 minutes to an hour of this movie, and then the rest of it I'm actually not as hyped on. But it's phenomenal. Really good movie. Fury, really fun movie. Guys in a tank during war. I think they all give phenomenal performances. I really enjoyed watching Fury. The Fugitive. You find this man. Harrison Ford. Really great on-the-run movie, kind of mystery movie, detective-ish kind of movie. I love The Fugitive. I think it's great. Equilibrium. I thought it was a really cool, kind of futuristic movie, but I kind of wish it did more with the concept of getting rid of art and how that and what that does to the human spirit. Elf. Will Ferrell at his peak Will Ferrellness. If you want to know what Will Ferrell is all about, watch Elf. And a great Christmas movie. The Edge of 17. Really great coming-to-age story. I really enjoyed it. Dunkirk. I enjoy the spectacle of this movie. I just can't really get into the story. There's no one to really get attached to, unfortunately. But I think it's still pretty well done. Dumbo. It's more so of a kid's Disney film. I don't enjoy that too much as an adult. Dumb and Dumber 2. Used to be a guilty pleasure of mine. Then I tried to watch it again recently and could not get through it. Dumb and Dumber. I love Dumb and Dumber. That will always be a classic comedy. Duel. Steven Spielberg's first movie, and boy did he come out of the gate with a really fun one. Drive. And Dodgeball. Not one of my favorite comedy movies, but I still own it. Because people told me to check it out, and I did, and then I just never got rid of it. But it's not that bad. Jaws. Classic. One of my favorite movies. Everything about Jaws has been said. But 24 official James Bond movies? Yep, all the way from Dr. No to Spectre. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. No offense to the classic Jumanji, but this is probably my favorite Jumanji film. And then we got Jumanji, the classic with... Which way am I holding it? The classic with Robin Williams in this really cool kind of steelbook that represents the game. John Wick Chapter 3, John Wick Chapter 2, and John Wick. One of the best action franchises out there right now, and one of the best action trilogies I think of all time. Joker, such a great movie. I had a lot to say about this movie. I've got 2 videos on it, a spoiler review and a non-spoiler if you want to get my full-on thoughts, but I love Joker. Jojo Rabbit, still my favorite of 2019. I wish it won Best Picture. It's just such a heartwarming movie for me. I love Jojo Rabbit. Kung Fu Panda 3, Kung Fu Panda 2, and Kung Fu Panda. It's a pretty good animated trilogy, and I think it's one of the more underrated animated trilogies. I really enjoy that. Cuba and the Two Strings, so underrated. Such a fun adventure and really good claymation film. Kong, Skull Island, not one of my favorite King Kong movies, but it's a pretty fun one when it comes to action. Knives Out, love this movie, so good, and Rian Johnson should do more movies like this. I feel really bad all the hate he gets for Last Jedi, but that movie proves that he's a good filmmaker. Kingsman, The Secret Service, I really enjoyed Kingsman, The Secret Service, kind of a take on James Bond and some of the tropes of those kind of movies, but I hate the sequel and therefore I don't own it. King of Comedy, watching more Robert De Niro movies, this is kind of out of left field for him. This is a little different for him. This is a little out of his comfort zone, and I really enjoyed King of Comedy. And you can see where the Joker kind of takes inspiration from that one as well. King Kong vs. Godzilla. That's a movie. Monster House. I really enjoyed Monster House, and when I watched it again with my friend not too long ago in October, it still held up really well for me. Moana. I love Moana. Great Disney film. Glass, Split, and Unbreakable. Love Unbreakable, love Split, and I like Glass. But I think it's a pretty good trilogy overall, in my opinion. Mission Impossible Fallout. Probably my favorite Mission Impossible movie. The newest one did a lot of cool stuff with the action sequences, and Tom Cruise pushed it to the limits. The Mask. Peak Jim Carrey. Mary Poppins. Really sweet Disney movie. Pretty fun, pretty whimsical, pretty magical. The Man with No Name trilogy consists of A Fistful of Dollars for a Few Dollars More and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Probably the peak of Clint Eastwood's Western movies, and I enjoyed all of them, but Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was definitely the best one. The Men in Black trilogy. Men in Black is a classic. Men in Black 2 gets a little bit worse with the writing. It definitely feels rushed. And then Men in Black 3 is okay. I don't hate it. I don't understand the hate for it. But it's not great. The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot. Pretty disappointing when you hear the title and then watch the movie and see what it's actually about. But the last little half an hour of that movie gives you what you paid for. Man of Steel. Pretty good Superman movie. I actually enjoy that one. Madagascar 3, probably the weakest of the trilogy. Not one that I really enjoy all that much, but I think it's okay. Law-Abiding Citizen. This movie has one of the most horrific torture scenes I've ever seen in a movie in all my life, and I probably won't want to watch it again anytime soon, but it's a really good movie. The Last Starfighter, guilty pleasure. I think it's hilarious. Just the effects and the acting and all that stuff. The Last Samurai, Tom Cruise. Pretty cool. Land of the Lost. And La La Land. Really great musical. Stranger Things and Stranger Things Season 2. Yeah, I know these are on Netflix. I didn't have to own them, but you know what? I wanted to. Warm Bodies. Not a bad zombie apocalypse kind of romance film, surprisingly. Zombieland, one of my favorite zombie movies ever made. Zathura, nostalgic and holds up pretty well. It's definitely a Jumanji type movie, and I think it's based off of a Jumanji spinoff, but I think it holds up pretty well and still a lot of fun. Wonder Woman. I like that movie, and then the third act kind of falls apart, but still a good movie. Wonder. Such a sweet movie. The Wolverine. The third act kind of falls apart, similar to Wonder Woman, but I still like that movie overall. The Wizard of Oz. Classic. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. My favorite Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I don't like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I think Gene Wilder, rest in peace, killed it as Willy Wonka and gave a timeless performance. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Really fun to see those animated characters come into live action, and I enjoy that movie a lot. It fell out of its slip, but we got Welcome to Marwin with Steve Carell. I thought it was pretty decent. Weekend at Bernie's doesn't hold up as much as I remember, but still a really fun comedy for me, and one I still really enjoy. The Wedding Singer. This might be one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies too. Actually, that might be my favorite Adam Sandler movie. No, I just really like that movie though. It's a really great Adam Sandler movie. Wayne's World 2 and Wayne's World. Wayne's World 2 I actually didn't like all that much, to be honest, but Wayne's World is a classic. War of the Worlds, Tom Cruise, Dakota Fanning. I saw this is a remake of a 50s movie, and it's pretty entertaining. WALL-E, one of Pixar's most profound movies, I would say. The Visit, creepy, and a twist that really works. Venom, not one of my favorite comic book movies, and not really one that I think is all that good either. But Venom 2 might be good, so if Venom 2 is good and I buy it, I'll have Venom 1 sitting next to it. And it's Tom Hardy is fun, and the dynamic he has with Venom is pretty good too. It's just the writing of the story and plot I don't really like. Us, creepy, really good though. Upgrade, this is so underrated. Fun revenge film in a futuristic setting. Up. and Unstoppable. Trying to stop a train based on a true story. Good stuff. Toy Story of Terror. A fun Halloween special that they did on TV. Toy Story 4, really good. Toy Story 3, probably still my favorite Toy Story movie. Toy Story 2, this might be my favorite Toy Story movie. Always battles between 2 and 3. And Toy Story, the classic original that started Pixar's career. Top Gun, looking forward to that sequel. Tropic Thunder. Tommy Boy, Chris Farley, his best movie. Unfortunately, he passed away pretty early, but his performance and his comedy will live on in Tommy Boy. Tomb Raider, decent. It's okay. I haven't watched it in a while, actually. Unforgiven, probably one of my favorite Western movies, and Clint Eastwood returning to the form is great. Tremors, really fun. Kind of thriller, but kind of comedy movie. I really enjoy Tremors, but I haven't seen any of the sequels, so... Toy Story That Time Forgot, the Christmas special that came out like 5 years ago. All of the Toy Story content I've really liked. It's kind of crazy how consistent Toy Story has been with its content. X-Men Days of Future Past, one of the best X-Men movies out there. X-Men Apocalypse, one of the lesser X-Men movies out there, but I enjoy the action and the spectacle of it. Zootopia, really good Disney movie. I wonder if they're still doing a sequel to that. Zoolander, isn't there more to life than being really, really good looking? I love Ben Stiller in this movie, and I hate the sequel, but Zoolander, good. Zombieland, Double Take. That's the sequel to Zombieland, and I think it was a pretty decent road trip sequel to the movie. Young Frankenstein, really funny spoof movie. Gene Wilder, again, great in that movie. Yesterday, I liked the concept of it. I think it could have been a little bit better, done a little bit more with it, but it was still fun for what it was. X-Men Dark Phoenix, what a crappy way for the Fox X-Men movies to go out with such a whimper. I bought it for completion's sake, but I don't plan on watching it anytime soon. X-Men, X-Men 2, and X-Men 3, The Last Stand. Hard to judge that as a trilogy, there's been so much more, but the X-Men and X-Men 2 are definitely better than Last Stand, and X-Men 2 is probably my favorite out of the three. X-Men First Class, really good. The World's End, the last of the Cornetto trilogy, and I just, probably the most entertaining out of all of them. I really love The World's End. And I love Simon Pegg's character in that movie. And the Universal Monsters with Frankenstein, Dracula, The Mummy, The Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein. Classic monster movies. X-Men Origins, Wolverine. The worst Wolverine movie by far, and I only have it for completion's sake. I'm not watching that anytime soon. And last but certainly not least, my friend's TV set collection of all 10 seasons of my favorite show of all time. Whew. Well, there you have it, guys. That is my updated Blu-ray collection for the year 2020. Those are all the Blu-rays I own. But I want to hear from you guys now, and I want to hear your collection, so make sure you put down below in the comment section what your Blu-ray collections are. If you feel like typing that much, I'd love to hear and get a conversation started with you on that. As always, guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video and checking out my channel. And until next time, my name's Zachary Milne. Thank you for talking all these movies with me, and hope you have yourself a great day. Now I get to put these all away.